Hey guys, this is Scott. This is Cooking with Breeo, and today we're gonna do a basic recipe, how to cook a steak. Check these suckers out. We got ribeyes. They're like 1.5 inches thick. All we're gonna do is put a little salt and a little pepper, and we're gonna cook them on the sear plate and then finish them off on the outpost, and this is gonna be delicious. Now a steak like this with the natural marbling doesn't need much. A little bit of coarse salt, or I'll say a lot of bit of coarse salt, and a good bit of coarse ground pepper goes a long way. You don't want to put salt on way before you cook the steak because it's going to pull all that moisture out. So I like to put it on right before. Keep in mind these steaks have been resting in room temperature. We're outside for about 7 to 10 minutes. I like that so you get a little bit more of an even cook on the steak. If you just pull it right out of the fridge, throw it on the grill, it'll probably be fine, but what you're not gonna have near as evenly cooked surface. So I like to sprinkle salt also on this fat back right here. I don't know if that's what it's called, but that's what I'm calling it. And you sprinkle it on there. I know what you're thinking, that's a lot of salt, but with a steak this thick, you gotta get a nice crust on the outside or else you're gonna lose some of that flavor. Salt, pepper, and flip it one more time, and then you gotta get all that seasoning off of your board and push it in there. And what you want to do is just pick up all that beautiful seasoning. This is making my mouth water already. All right, so the fire has died down, which is really key. You want it to die down. We still do have some flames, which is good. We got a really hot temp right on there. We're gonna throw this sucker on the sear plate and then finish it off on the outpost, and we'll see how it goes. Probably just like 1.5 minutes on each side on the sear plate, and I am gonna move it around to different hot spots because we want a really good crust on there. A little trick I like to do is start off with butter. Now this butter is cold, and you'll see that when I put it on here, it's gonna melt instantly. That's what we want. And then I am going to take a little bit of olive oil right before I put the steaks on. That'll keep the butter from burning, and that's gonna make this just delicious. Oh baby, look at that. So I'm actually just gonna let that butter run down from the outside. These things always tilt in so all the juices flow into the fire. A little bit of olive oil in there just to keep the butter from burning. It's gonna probably cause it to flame up a little bit, and I am cool with that. We don't want the flame really hitting these steaks, so I'll just wait here for a second, and then I'm gonna throw them on. Oh my goodness. That is what I'm talking about. These steaks do not need much extra fat like butter or oil, but where I come from, a little bit of butter goes a long way. All right, so with these sear plates, it's hotter on the inside, a little bit cooler on the outside, so I'm just gonna rotate, oh my, just gonna rotate it like this. I'm gonna be careful that you don't let that bad boy fall down in there. And we are getting a beautiful sear. Look at that. And what's nice is that flame's gonna come up and actually render some of that fat off. I'll show you what we're gonna do with that fat a little bit later once we start cooking on the other side. Gonna add just a little bit of butter for good measure on the outside of these things. Oh baby, now we are talking. Let some of that butter get underneath there. Again, a steak like this doesn't really need it, but in my opinion, doesn't hurt. All right, so we are gonna flip these bad boys and wait till you see that beautiful crust. Oh my goodness. That is just what you're looking for right there. Oh baby, come on. I'm gonna put a little bit of butter right on top. We'll let that kind of sit in there. Again, not really necessary, but why not? All right, so we are gonna put this on the outpost to finish it off, just a little bit above the flame. So I wanna get the outpost hot just so it keeps cooking it, because what happens if you put the cold metal, put the steaks right on the cold metal, it's not gonna give it the best heat. So in another minute or so, I'm gonna put those right up here. I'll show you a little trick before I do that with the fat renderings. We're gonna render the fat on either side, and it's gonna make it really nice. A lot of people don't like fat with their steaks, so a really nice way that you can do that is just to kind of sear the sides as well. We're gonna sear this area right here, and it'll get nice and crispy, so it's not all chewy, but it'll actually be rendered down when you go to eat it. And that's probably my favorite part of the steak, is that outside, if you get that proper sear. So a little bit we'll do that. Minute and a half, 2 minutes on each side with the steak this thick. Hit the edges of the steak real quick on the sear plate, up on here to finish, which is gonna be about 350 or so temp-wise. And we'll flip it once after it's up there, and we're going for a good medium rare on this bad boy. So something you can do, you can see that this butter melted just in time for us to throw these bad boys up. I'm gonna take that fat, oh my, sear it just like that. It's kind of an unnecessary but very necessary step if you want a perfect steak. I'm only doing this to the fat side just to render it down. It's gonna be delicious. I'll do the same with the other one here in a minute. And if you take a look at this, it just gets that beautifully caramelized and gets that fat rendered down. We're gonna do the same thing out here. Oh man. And up it goes on a nice hot outpost. Good rule of thumb here is you want to be able to keep your hand there about 3-4 seconds. I'm going to lower it just a little bit. And we're going to flip that one more time. You don't want to flip steak too much. A lot of people say, oh, you never want to flip steak more than once. I don't know. I've seen the best chefs in the world do it. I've also seen the best chefs in the world say don't flip it, so I don't really think it matters probably. We're gonna flip it once, top it with butter, and then pull it off in a few minutes. You can see that that fat's just dripping down in the fire. All that good flavor's coming up. I mean, it is just gonna be phenomenal. All right, we're just gonna flip those one time on that outpost. You got beautiful caramelization on both sides. Now what we're really going for is even heat throughout. We don't want there to be just gray and then rare in the center. We want kind of even heat throughout, and this is how we achieve that. We'll take a temp here shortly to see where we're at. My guess is that we're at somewhere right around 100 on the inside. We'll see how good I am. Okay, we're still a little low, 85 on the inside. These are thick. They're gonna take a little while. They're gonna take a little bit of time. They're thick steaks. That's a good thing. All right, we're gonna pull this first one off. Just hit like 135 internal temp. Let this bad boy rest. This guy is a little thicker. It's gonna take a little longer. I'd say another minute or so. You don't wanna rush these things. I mean, yeah, it's a hot fire, but you want that crisp outer edge and then tenderness on the inside. That's when you know it's gonna be good. All right, we're gonna pull this baby off. Oh my. It's like 133, 135 on the inside. We're gonna let that rest. This other bad boy's been resting. Look at that amazing color. Oh man. Now, we don't want to cut into it premature because all those juices are going to run out. You can see that there's hardly any juice that ran out of this guy. That's because we got a good sear and then we're letting it rest. The goal is when you cut it, not to have all this blood gush everywhere. You want all of those juices back into the steak, and it's going to be delicious. So just be patient, have yourself a beverage, and be patient. Don't cut into it premature, you will regret it. All right, this is the moment of truth. We got that beautiful rendered fat on the edge. Oh man. And these ribeyes honestly have so much flavor. Oh baby. I like to cut the ribeyes a little bit thicker. So this part of the ribeye over here is just so ridiculously tender. There's a little bit of fattiness in there. This is just ridiculous. This little bit over here, I don't know what that is, but that is the money piece. Oh my goodness. This has now rested for 7 minutes. We've been patient, and it's good to cut it across the grain. Oh, baby. I mean, I like to cut these nice and thick so they don't, oh my goodness, look at that. Look at that. Cut them nice and thick so you can actually serve them up. I mean, that is what I'm talking about. Dynamite steak, medium rare, medium. I mean, this is why you cook on a Breeo. Oh my. I mean, seriously, I wish you could try this because it's awesome. All you gotta do is sear it, put it on a little lower heat. Don't be afraid to flip it. You can see how juicy that is. I mean, look at how juicy that freaking steak is. And some of you might be thinking, well, you put a half a stick of butter on 2 steaks, what do you expect? Notice that butter burn off in there anyway. Serve it up in strips if you'd like, however you want to serve it. If you like it a little bit more, cooked a little bit more, leave it on there a little bit longer. Ribeye steak on a Breeo, it won't disappoint. Salt, pepper, a little bit of butter, and your mind is going to be blown. Thank you for watching. Enjoy this basic recipe. I'm going to eat more, so I got to go. Thank you. See ya.